The gyro is almost unequivocally seen as the staple of Greek food. It's a dish that speaks for the country's advancement and willingness to adapt and draw from other fields without hesitant caution or wavering fear. It represents the people and their common interests, with the gyro being the most common observable street food in all of Greece. Upon researching the dish, I was shocked to learn about much of its history. Both the concept and execution of the gyro were lifted from the Turkish doner kebab. The earliest period of the dish, not the gyro, can be traced back to the 17th century, with Turkey remaining under the control of the Ottoman Empire. Some sort of sliced meat was cooked over a vertical rotisserie spit, not a horizontal one, which is far more common at this point. The meat was then sliced thin and served hot. The town of Bursa is commonly recognized as the birthplace of the vertical rotisserie spit, with the concept supposedly stemming from mere daydreaming and pursuit innovation. As legend follows, Iskender Efendi dreams as a child of a vertical rotisserie instead of a horizontal one before supposedly producing the invention. Just to note, Hamdi Usta, sorry if I butchered that, may have potentially been the one to make the prototype. In either instance, the vertical spit is a masterclass in efficiency and creativity. Being able to work with meat held straight vertically consumes far less kitchen space and allows rendered fat and natural juices to flow downward, just all across the meat's interior. Not just that, but with its common applications for these particular kinds of meat, like lamb or chicken, a firm exterior is able to best complement a soft, moist inside, as heat and flame is evenly dispersed across the meat at all times. Just to briefly summarize that tangent, the gyro drew from the vertical rotisserie spit, and that's where they used to cook their meat. As for the meat itself, it's pretty much the same varieties, like, sliced chicken or lamb. Beef is also considered to be suitable, although some have argued that it's a more American innovation rather than authentic Greek. There is likely just another essential conclusion for a gyro to be considered a gyro: flatbread. There truly isn't much of a need for me to dig too far deep into the vast history of such a very general category. Pita is obviously the authentic hailing standard for a gyro. As for the incredibly vast realm of flatbread, it's quite literally one of the oldest foods, something so broad and free of its requirements that it can be identified in any ancient culture's history. The Tufian hunter-gatherers first scraped together water in a slop of grains and cooking it over a flame 30,000 years ago. Ancient Mesopotamia, 9,000 BCE, establishing their own flatbread through a similar process. Aside from filling in as the first dot in our timeline, the origins really aren't that relevant. The establishment of pita bread, however, and the way by which it emerged in Greece, as I already mentioned, is. A crucial step to the creation of bread as a whole was discovered in 1500 BCE by the Egyptians, named leavening. It's a process by which of incorporating gas into a food, allowing it to best puff up and develop air pockets through whatever sort of cooking process used. Through the introduction of this process and its numerous assisting agents, so that includes biological surfaces like yeast, or chemicals like baking soda or powder, the leavened pita bread came to be. During this period, it came to be a necessary vehicle for other dishes in ancient Greece and Rome. It was an edible utensil, both accessible and used by all, the poor, rich, or middle class. They were described as soft, flat, and versatile loaves, as spoken almost explicitly by the philosopher Galen. Though this one isn't technically required, any gyro you've ever purchased likely has some tzatziki sauce on it. The framework of the sauce goes back far, stretching from India's raita, a cool yogurt sauce at the very bottom of its time graph, to Ottoman modification, where it was used as a cooling agent in dishes and was frequently laced with garlic and cucumber. This incarnation was then taken and further tweaked by Greece, with the additions of mint and herbs, ultimately culminating with a familiar modern tzatziki. There's an astonishing time jump between what I've completed detailing and what I'm now going to jump into. The gyro didn't actually drop down in Greece until the 1920s. The 1922 through 23 population exchange between Greece and Turkey, prompted by the buckling of the Ottoman Empire and the following desire for more unified population on both ends, brought Greek and Armenian refugees over the southern edge of the Balkan Peninsula, Greece, and along with them, the vertical rotisserie wrap of the gyro. In this case, that's really the only criteria, just a vertical rotisserie that cooks meat, and just some sort of flatbread that brings it all together. As many refugees settle down, they have established their very own corner stores and snack stands, offering gyros topped with vegetables, along with all of my previously mentioned ingredients. The gyro is consumed as a common street food, but Greece was just in a tough spot from the 20s to 60s. There was a failed dictatorship, a monopoly that was restored and then converted back into a nationalist dictatorship. It was occupied by Axis powers in World War II. It was lifted out of poverty in the 50s, but it ultimately fell right back into political instability. But thankfully, there was a new hope found in 1965 when the Immigration and Nationality Act greatly altered the landscape of the United States. So we're jumping across continents now. It was then written the national origin is something that could be discriminated against in the immigration process, allowing gates from southern and eastern Europe to the United States to be opened yet again. This newfound opportunity automatically pushed Greeks to immigrate to the U.S., mainly for the hope of economic prosperity. Despite that renewal, it was just tough in Greece, and paired with Greece's political insecurity throughout the rest of the decade, so yet another dictatorship. It was a military coup turned one. The 60s found many Greeks plopped down in the United States. The euro was first officially put out in 1965 by George Apostolo, serving them at his Parkview restaurant in Chicago. Almost instantaneously, it was a hit. Described as a great round meat cake resembling meatloaf being broiled in a large spit by Tribune columnist Kay Loring, the euro could be found in restaurants or served by vendors. Mass production emerged in the U.S. by the turn of the decade, and Euros Incorporated of Chicago. Many claim to have been the first to arrive on this subject, but John Garlick is majorly credited with the initial grace. He and his wife established the very first assembly line for the dish in Milwaukee after watching his dressing play out in the game show What's My Line. Numerous establishments followed after in Chicago, like Kronos Foods, who now stands as the largest manufacturer of the dish. The greatest change to the euro almost certainly lies in the meat. While in Greece you may be offered long-marinated layered slabs of flavorful lamb or chicken, American euro meat is tailor-made for convenience and immediate cooking completion. Packages of euro meat here in the U.S. are made with the intention of 2 steps to them. 1. Open them up. 2. Cook them. The meat is pre-stacked and flash frozen, allowing for breezy heat transfer and the fastest possible serve time to customers. Additionally, cheap trimmings and pre-ground varieties are also used to even, make the meat mixture in the first place. Standing is far more economical than how it may be cooked by a vendor.